20th March 2010, the day she was born and taken away from me. Today is that day. My dearest mother, I never knew you could be taken away from me so suddenly. It has been 2 years now, and your last birthday was shared with you is still fresh in my mind. It was such a beautiful day, and you had prepared the most amazing food. You and Dad were so happy together. I remember him telling you that all is well when is there. I really miss those happy moments. But what happened that evening? What evil entered Dad that he had to kill you? May 13th, 2010, the day I met my dearest friend and brother Jabali, at that same graveyard where my mother is buried. But before I met Jabali, things were very difficult for me. I could not live alone in the house, so I resorted to the streets, where maybe I could get the love and care I yearned after what happened to our family. I thought maybe if I stayed with the other kids in the street, then they would accept me. But this was all a mere dream. They taunted me and called me names. Sometimes they would take the only food I found from the hotel's dustbins. I walked alone aimlessly, with nowhere to go and no one to care for me and love me. Jabali is the God-sent angel brought to me to save me from myself. He told me that when he looked at me in the graveyard, he saw anguish and disgrace in my eyes. He saw I needed a friend. He took me to his safe house, as he used to call it, and protected me like his own sister from people who will try to hurt us. He made sure that I was well fed despite the fact that we were on the streets. January 2010 is the day I hate to remember with all my heart. The reason why I hate that day is because I felt sick from eating food from the dustbins. We did not have access to medicine nor have money to go to hospital. I was feeling so bad that Jabali could not bear seeing me in that state. I wish I told him to stay and brave me. Then let me leave me. He insisted he leaves to look for medicine despite my protest that we go together. If only I knew that that was that last day I was to see him, then I would have gone with him. I found his body that day drenched with blood mixed with dirt.